In just a few weeks, over 100 missiles from the United States and Israel have soared across Iran's skies, leaving everyone to ask in panic, how will Iran survive these threats? With China as an ally, Iran is standing tall, head to head with the US. Why won't China let Iran fall? You're about to find out. Back in 2021, China was importing an average of 400,000 to 650,000 barrels of Iranian oil per day. This happened despite the tough sanctions placed on Iran by the United States. How is this possible, and why does China continue to trade with one of the most sanctioned countries in the world? You would not want to miss the real reason behind China's connection to Iran and why it cannot afford to watch it fall. Therefore, keep watching. In the face of relentless United States sanctions and threats, Iran's oil exports have no doubt fallen over the last few years. Yet, despite these trade restrictions, Iranian oil continues to flow, primarily due to the support of one country, China. While the US and the European Union have been at the centre of demanding more sanctions to isolate Iran from the rest of global commerce, China has been a consistent friend, purchasing millions of barrels of oil per day. How has China managed to bypass these sanctions and maintain a thriving oil trade with Iran? The initial significant strategy is the use of so-called front companies and ghost tankers. These ships, often sailing under different flags, carry Iranian crude oil covertly, making it sometimes impossible to track the origin of the petroleum. This oil is largely undervalued, which holds more political value for China. The United States can threaten to bully Iran all day long, but China simply continues to tap into this lifeline, gaining cheap energy for its huge economy in the process. But more than that, China's reliance on Iranian oil is a well-planned and long-term arrangement. According to data intelligence firm Kepler, China imported over 500,000 barrels of Iranian oil daily at some point in 2022, despite US sanctions on most of the goods coming out of Iran. In comparison, countries like India have significantly reduced their imports from Iran due to the threat of sanctions. Yet, a country like China has remained unyielding. One might begin to wonder, why does this matter so much to China? For one, the strategic value of Iranian oil cannot be overlooked. Iran happens to hold one of the world's largest oil reserves, and at the same time, its oil is priced lower than that of many other sources on the global market. In a country like China, which consumes approximately 14 million barrels of oil per day, Iran's crude oil is crucial to its economy and balance. It goes a little further by allowing China to maintain its economy without heavily relying on energy giants such as Saudi Arabia or Russia. However, despite the benefits of obtaining cheap oil, the trade between the two nations does come with its risks. US and Israeli attacks on Iranian nuclear sites within the last few months are escalating, with even newer reports of attacks on Iranian fields and refineries. The conflict poses a direct threat to China's access to Iranian oil. Nevertheless, despite these threats hanging over its head, China has no indication of giving up any time in the near future. In fact, its position has only gained more ground, with the country doubling down on its support for Iran. Why does China not care to take these risks? The answer lies in China's long-term geopolitical strategy on the continent. Iran plays a significant role in China's Belt and Road Initiative, which aims to expand China's global influence. Keep watching this video as we go into that detail next. But first, let's take a look at trade deal agreements that were made by both countries behind closed doors. In 2021, China made a landmark move to solidify its relationship with Iran. The two countries agreed on a $400 billion 25-year contract that is the most ambitious of the region's foreign investments. This was not only about commerce, it was a pledge of infrastructure, oil, and security relations on a scale never before seen. But what exactly did China invest in? And why would it do so at the risk of the unstable political situation in Iran? Well, the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Agreement was a commitment and a clear demonstration of China's desire to partner with Iran and secure its future relevance in the Middle East. According to this deal, over the next 25 years, China will invest a substantial amount in Iran's oil and mining sector, ports, railways, telecommunications, and energy infrastructure, while also establishing a robust economic relationship that would help China gain influence in Iran for decades to come. China's role in this agreement goes beyond just investing in projects. As a return on investment, this agreement also aims to open up Iran's resources to Beijing, which further positions it as a dominant player among the Middle Eastern trade routes. This transaction is regarded as the last step in China's battle with the West for global resources and power. What is even more intriguing about this deal is its political undertones. Iran has been isolated to some extent by the West for years, having been sanctioned and economically frowned at since its Islamic Revolution. However, by aligning with China, Iran has given a window of opportunity to break free from its isolation and open up its economy. In addition, this deal with China was not so much a matter of economic survival as it was about securing a more favourable position with its geopolitical rivals. However, Iran's political instability, together with regional tension with Israel, leads one to question the viability of such long-term investments. Still, for China, the benefits outweigh the risk, and by committing to such a massive investment, China sends a strong signal to the West. Iran is a partner in China's future. The $400 billion deal is a clear indication that China has no intention of backing out of its relationship with Iran. In fact, this deal remains one of the most significant developments in China's efforts to balance global trade lines and extend its dominance to the Middle East. With infrastructure such as Chabahar port and energy grids, Iran is also rapidly emerging as a central piece of China's long-term economic strategy. Aside from the trade agreements between the two countries, let us see how the geographical location of Iran is helping it gain a firm rapport with China. The strategic location of Iran has been a crucial factor in its long-term standing importance to China's economic objectives. If you look at a map of Central Asia, the Middle East and Europe, you'll notice that Iran lies right at the heart of all these regions, which makes it a sort of gateway to 3 continents. The large network of trade routes that China envisions for its Belt and Road Initiative is heavily tied to Iran's geography. The China Central Asia and West Asia corridor, a critical part of the BRI program, relies on Iran to provide essential links between the Chinese economy and the West. Without Iran, these corridors lose their key access point. But what exactly is this initiative to begin with? The Belt and Road Initiative is China's ambitious global development strategy, focused on enhancing international trade and promoting economic growth through investments in infrastructure. This involves connecting Asia with Europe and Africa through land and maritime networks to improve the flow of trade. Iran's willingness to participate in this project has been a game changer for China's ambitions in the region. The China Central Asia and West Asia corridor is particularly important because it offers a land route from China to Europe and beyond without having to go through the deep waters. The Chabahar port, which is located on the southern coast of Iran along the Persian Gulf, plays a crucial role in China's trade strategy. China has reportedly invested in this port and has turned it into a vital point for land-sea trade between China and the West. This is not only due to the proximity of the port to major shipping lanes, but also because it offers a direct route from the Indian Ocean directly to Central Asia and Europe, bypassing some of the more congested and politically unstable routes. Without the Chabahar port, China could face a significant challenge in carrying out its plans to expand its trade footprint across the region. Another major port is still located in Iran. Bandar Abbas Port offers yet another degree of integration into China's Middle East logistical chain. Through its takeover or investment in these ports, China gets access to Central Asia and the Middle East directly, key regional natural resource providers of oil and gas. In addition, these ports act as vital points which give China some leverage over the smooth flow of trade through the Strait of Hormuz. For China, losing Iran would not just be a minor setback, but disruption of years of carefully crafted logistics planning. Without Iran as a key player in the BRI framework, China could risk losing its foothold in a region that links the East and the West. The Belt and Road Initiative would be significantly undermined, forcing China to find alternative routes that might be costlier, less effective, and politically unstable. The BRICS countries, made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have been a significant part of China's strategy in building an economic counterweight to the West. However, the inclusion of Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates into the BRICS League of Nations has further strengthened the economic bloc's importance, especially China's reliance on it as a tool to challenge Western dominance in global finance. In January 2024, Iran was officially invited to join BRICS. This was a move that had been eagerly anticipated. Iranian membership in BRICS is important for many reasons, the most pressing being its compatibility with China's anti-dollar stance. The United States dollar has been the world's reserve currency for decades, but China has been actively de-dollarizing the planet. By BRICS' inclusion of countries like Iran, the Bloc aims to facilitate this shift by having the member countries engage in exchange using local currencies rather than the US dollar. Iran's export of oil is also a strong point in this bloc, especially with China buying more Iranian oil using the yuan and not the dollar. This process is necessary in China's long-term goal of reducing the dollar's dominance in global trade. In addition to energy trade in local currencies, the inclusion of Iran in BRICS has helped solidify the bloc's collective effort towards creating an alternative financial system to the IMF and World Bank. By bringing Iran into the fold, China strengthens the push against the West, as it now has another partner in promoting alternative financial structures such as the New Development Bank and the Contingent Reserve Arrangement. These institutions provide emergency financial support to member countries. As both countries work together to undermine Western economic control, Iran's presence in BRICS becomes even more vital for China's financial future. If China were to lose Iran as a partner, it would not only fracture the BRICS expansion plan, but also leave China without a crucial component of its push for a new world economic order. In terms of China's security, Iran has a major role that goes beyond economic cooperation and oil trade. The bilateral relationship between China and Iran is one based on mutual geopolitical interest. Where Iran is a major strategic buffer for China in the Middle East, Iran's resistance to the West provides China with a security buffer that protects its interests in the region and covers its broader geopolitical moves. One of the most important aspects of this relationship is the defense cooperation between China and Iran. Both countries face common security threats from the United States and its allies. Iran's resistance to Western and Western-backed pressure, in the form of its uncompromising stance against sanctions and interference, helps to reinforce China's determination to carve out an East Asian regional supremacy independent of Western interference. Iran's buffer role extends to military cooperation between Iran and China. Joint military exercises and cyber cooperation alongside Russia have been a part of their partnership in recent years. These maneuvers are symbolic in essence, but also an indication of increased technological assistance, such as missile defense systems and intelligence cooperation operations. For China, maintaining a strong relationship with Iran allows it to extend its influence into the Middle East and safeguard important seaports and sea lanes, such as the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's proximity to these vital waterways provides China with the leverage it needs in order to safeguard its business interests. Without Iranian assistance in guarding these corridors, China risks losing its stake in the region and opening itself up to vulnerabilities within global trade. Iran's resistance to Western powers, particularly the United States and Israel, reflects China's broader goal of building a multipolar world order that challenges Western oneness. Alongside Russia, they create a triangular influence in the region that strengthens the economic and military shields protecting China's interests. Without Iran, China loses more than just a strategic oil partner. It loses a needed ally that helps shield its regional ambitions and defend its trade interests. Iran's role as a diplomatic and military buffer makes it indispensable to China's broader strategy, both in the Middle East and the world at large. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please ensure to hit the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.